on a shooting team, and 2 days before the competition, one of my sergeants, and I'm not gonna say his name, was like, "Hey, Oshana, because I was the best shooter, Alex." He's like, "The competition's canceled," and I was like, "What? Why?" 9/11 happens, and then we were warned. Rumsfeld went in front of the White House, and he was like, "Something's happening with terrorism." He kind of warned us. Condoleezza Rice warned the mayor of Chicago, "Don't fly to New York this day." And then you nailed it, Alex, when you were talking about Osama bin Laden. Every flight in the entire United States was grounded. There was a couple F-16s circling. The only commercial flights that were left from here flew to Ramstein, Germany, and it was Osama bin Laden's entire family.
They flew them all out. That was on local Miami news. They flew them out of here.
Yeah, 100%.
Or just north of here. So, and there's video of it. But it gets worse. So I'm saying there's thousands of pieces of data. They didn't find one. They found 2 hijackers' passports unburned in that whole explosion. So you got 10 feet of dust everywhere, billions of papers, but those get found the next day. Believe that? So, and it goes on for days. But I interviewed the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff right before he died about this, and a bunch of other people. And they told me before it came out a few years later that all the top generals were supposed to go to New York that day for a big meeting. They got told not to go. And remember, the Pentagon asked InfraGard leaders a month before, about 2 weeks before. You pull these up articles. That's all the corporate executives, get approached by part of Homeland Security before they announce that name, and infrastructure protection, and the whole shadow government program. They flew them to Offutt Air Force Base. Was that the one? It's just from memory. It's just ancient history. They flew them all to an Air Force base and had them in a hangar when the attack was happening, and closed the doors and gave them some secret briefing. Mm-hmm. Look up business leaders, billionaires flown to Air Force Base in 9/11. It's all up there. And this is such ancient history. I haven't gone over this in years. I should write a book on 9/11 and go back over it all. I mean, it is just insane.
If you could break down all the conspiracy theories regarding 9/11, true, false, this, that, the other, and if you could break it down to the lowest common denominator of who was involved, the motivation, what actually happened, what transpired more than meets the eye, how would you break that down in as few words as possible?
Well, what we have is perception management going on. And so this submarine thing, the Titan and the Titanic, all of this is a great window into this. I don't know what really happened there. We know we're being lied to. We know the Navy and the Coast Guard have incredible sonar. That area in the Atlantic's heavily covered because of nuclear submarine stuff. And they know the signature of an imploding vessel. It's been studied heavily. And they also know the sound of it hitting the bottom. I mean, they can hear somebody thumping on the side of a submarine 3,000 miles away. And they've got signatures. There's been hundreds of billions of dollars put into these acoustic sonar systems and other things. And they've got even more advanced stuff like that deals with these giant antennas they've got strung out that are sending waves to the earth. It's beyond sonar that pick all this stuff up. It's insane. And so they knew exactly when it imploded. They knew they were dead. They knew about the wreckage. And the commander said, we reported it. It's not our job to talk to the media. And they decided not to tell you. Yeah. And so they just decided to leave it out there as a distraction with all the Hunter Biden stuff coming out. Just like they indicted Trump. Jack Smith did the day the last big tranche of Hunter Biden stuff came out. So don't let a good crisis go to waste. Were they in the submarine? They really died? I mean, we get lied to so much, who knows? And am I going to get sued for 2.75 trillion? I mean, all I know is I'm saying I've been lied to so much. I don't know, but I know this. My phone blew up, my text messages. I've never been asked in a short period of time, so many times since Monday, what do you think really happened with the submarine? And that shows people don't buy it. And almost everybody says, I don't think anybody was on it. Or I think they knew they were already dead. I was hearing this on Monday. And, they're already dead. They know they're dead. They're just going to have this like the boy in the well. And so everybody focuses on it. And I'm like, I don't know. So I didn't comment until Friday. Because what I've learned is they spin when I just question and war game something and then say, look, he says nobody died. And they'll go to the widow, one of the submarine guys, and go, look, he's up there making money saying nobody died. And then they'll I mean, literally that's the model. But what's happening is the public doesn't believe any of it. Almost no one I talk to, in fact, no one believes it. So you asked your question is, what's the biggest thing we expose, or how does this mind control work? I think we're coming out of it. We have a discredited corporate media. We have a discredited government that's been hijacked. The public's really, ending their naivete and figuring out they've been lied to and beginning the journey of discovering what's happening. And I think popular podcasts and shows like yours that are really, I think, middle of the road, but are actually just looking at the facts, are going to lead the way out of this as the new media is now the mainstream media. I mean, your show's bigger than most of the shows on cable. Joe Rogan's show, I think something like 50 times bigger than a CNN show, 15 times bigger than a Fox show. But why do we still call it the mainstream media? Why do we still sit, all they are is disruptors that sit there and use psychological warfare to manipulate us. And so it's very healthy that people don't believe anything they're told. That's your right, especially when you've been lied to so much. If I had a neighbor that lied to me once, I'd think they were weird. They lied to me twice, I'm not going to talk to them anymore. These people have been lying to us, caught, and then laugh about it, how funny it is. I mean, take James O'Keefe last year. This is about a year and a half ago. This is a full year before they totally shut it down. Well, we're going to end the whole COVID thing and stop hyping that for now. And we're going to be all global warming and lockdowns and energy shortages and collapsing stuff and, just the end of civilization, end of the world. And then like a light switch, a few months later, all the media on the same day gets the new script and shifts to that. Well, that's the dinosaur media. And the only power they have is getting us to kind of debate what they're saying and doing, when at a certain point you realize it's just all crap. And that's happened. The average CNN show has like 80,000 viewers. The Fox has lost half their viewers at least. They're down from an average of 2 million viewers to like less than 1 million. They're all committing suicide. You see Anheuser-Busch committing suicide. But then Modelo's smart. We want to celebrate sports heroes and icons and war veterans and families and heritage and then like it's not just Hispanics going out and buying the beer, it's the white people. They go, yeah, we want to celebrate heritage too. I mean, we want to crack a beer and think about our country and our mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and children, how we're good people and how we want to be successful. We want to hear about a boxer or a swimmer or a firefighter that saved kids. We don't want to see some clown hop around in a dress. And we're sick of the demoralization. So their attempt to demoralize us is not demoralizing us now. It's causing the Great Awakening.
So when you're saying that, here's how I process it. So take somebody that's watching this and saying, I cannot believe these guys are hosting Alex Jones. This guy is deplatformed from everywhere, Twitter, even Elon Musk doesn't have Alex Jones, which I want to ask you about that as well on why in a minute. But so there are the people that 100% agree with you. They're loving what you're saying. Like, oh, this is awesome, great, keep going it. And then there's the people in the middle like, yeah, kind of makes sense. And then people on the one side that you're not going to win anyways. I just want to talk to the people in the middle. Forget about either side. I want to talk to the people in the middle. So if you're like me, as a Middle Eastern, Alex, I'm naturally super skeptical. I'm a paranoid guy. I don't trust a lot of people, okay? I'm kind of like, well, what's the guy's motive, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the part, Rob. We've shown this before. Here's public's trust in the U.S. government from 58 to today. It's the lowest it's been. Look at the numbers right there. I mean, I think the lowest it hit was under Obama. If you look at it there, and then now, from there, kept going. It hasn't increased. Now, go to the public trust in mainstream media, which is even worse. We were all the way up at 75% in 1976, give or take, and it has gradually declined all the way down to 34%. So it's not.
And by the way, I've looked at these big national polls. They're still sampling more mainline people. So from the numbers I've seen and what they internally have, they can do with these algorithms, it's way worse. Congress is more like 5%, and the media
trust in Congress.
Yes,
can you pull that up, Rob?
And the media is 9%.
And by the way, these numbers are from Gallup. It's not exactly some random website.
What I'm saying is Gallup though is from what we've seen is it's worse than what they're saying.
But here's a part though. Even with Gallup, for Gallup to show 34, 7% of Americans have confidence or institutions failing us. Okay, so what's the key word there that we're not trusting? Institutions. Establishment, okay? Like, people are wondering, and nowadays, even college education, is it even worth for me to go to college? What am I going to go to college for?
And that's why they want to watch a new show, check what it's saying, and then they basically knight that as the new show, like yours or Joe Rogan, because they trust you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they've committed suicide, and they think destroying us will make them be risen from the dead. They could take us all out. New people will pop right back up.
I think what people want is to listen to other skeptical people. I think Joe's skeptical. I don't look at Joe and I'm like, you know, Joe is a guy that's fully trying to push an agenda. I think Joe's sitting there saying, guys, I don't know what's going on here. I'm going through the problem. Like the way he opened up.
He's skeptical and he is curious.
I love the way he's very curious. I love the way he opened up the RFK interview, where he said, I'm not going to lie to you, for the last 5 years, you know, when I would watch sometimes, this guy's a kook, this guy's this, I'm like, oh, okay, probably not. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute, some of the stuff he's saying is true. And then I read the book, and I'm like, holy shit. And then we ran into each other at it's funny, the same restaurant we were at. It was myself, him, and RFK. Casa D'Angelo, and we have to give a shout out to Casa D'Angelo,
always.
Aspen.
Always.
We were just a day apart. We were all
You ran
there
into Joe Rogan, all those guys at the same time.
Yeah. So that's how they connected. Like, hey, I want to get you on the podcast. And then obviously when he did the podcast, he pissed off everybody, Dr. Hortez, all these things. Anyways, what I do want to do is this before we go into the next one. Rob, can you pull up the next thing here with the Tucker Carlson video he had? I want to say it's in March or something like that when he said this. Again, this was a couple months before it happened. Rob, you had it just a minute ago. You had it. So
And it's like how Hotez won't debate. Look at Kirby and all of them running off the stage. They're running. They're running. That's when you're fleeing. That's when you've been routed in a war.
Yeah, but folks like Mehdi Hasan are saying he shouldn't debate. You know, Time Magazine, he shouldn't debate.
They said,
You know,
he said in science we don't debate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like saying in boxing we don't fight.
Fight. Yeah.
So play this clip. This is when, Rob, can you first show the date? This is March of this year, right? We're talking March of this year, March 8th of this year. This is you. Okay, if you can play this.
He gets what's going on. He's not going back.
He
believes in the people. And so I predict he won't be at Fox News in the near future if he's unable to put this out. I'm going to leave it at that. But that's speaking from my perspective. I'm not speaking for Tucker.
Why'd
Now,
you say
Cheryl
that?
Atkinson-
What was
How'd
your
you know?
reasoning for saying that? Why'd you say Tucker's not going to be at Fox long? Obviously, 2 months later, he's not, and there's a feud there. But why did you say that?
Well, because they'll attribute things to Tucker because they know we talk some and hang out some. He's on the other side of Florida over in
Naples.
He's in
Sarasota?
Boca Grande or whatever. And so we hung out on Thanksgiving last year. But he used to think I was full of it. And then he kind of woke up with a lot of stuff. Came in to visit me like 10, 11, 12 years ago. We became friends, hung out. And then he still thought I was kind of crazy. And then he learned more and more as it went along. And so I had called him. I think we talked like the day before that or something. I don't remember exactly. And I'd said, listen, all the things you're doing they're going to let you go. I said, there's no way that, and we had a private conversation about that, and he didn't see it coming. And I said, well, I just really think you should do your own thing when this goes down. And I said, because we'd already talked about this some at Thanksgiving, and infrastructure, independent things, the future, and he's kind of sticking his toe in that. And then I said, okay, well, I predict you're going to be gone within a month. I said, I smell it. And I just, it's not even like being psychic. I get all this data, and all I do is immerse myself. You call it the Holy Spirit, whatever you want, but it's like boom, then I see something. Like I saw the World Trade Center towers on fire. I saw all the troops in the streets, and I could just see all the programming because you can just see how they're getting you ready for it. And like you said, when you're in the military, they start telling you, hey, terrorism's about to happen. Get ready, boys.
Yeah.
Get ready, boys. Well, they were doing that. I mean, like, get ready, the terrorists are about to hit us, and your life's going to change. I mean, it's not that hard. And you go, okay, what are they going to hit? What are they programming? And then they just had a lone gunman show where they flew a jumbo jet hijacked into the World Trade Center to blame a Middle Eastern terrorist to invade Afghanistan. Now, I said at the time, see, they're going to attack the World Trade Center. That's another reason. Later, Chris Carter contacts me and says, yes, that's true. The CIA contacted me. They did this routinely, and they basically wrote that script 9 months before 9/11, and then he produces it either 6 months before. It was the Lone Gunman spinoff. And then he based the 2016 series on me. That's interview. He said that. I'm not trying to brag. It's just crazy. The whole talk show host ends up being right at the end. And that's another reason they came after me, because they're like, this guy's getting too popular, even with the thinker people they don't control. So the CIA came to Carter and said, we want you to put this out. And then you notice his 2016 show is all about a vaccine that has a system in it that basically destroys your immune system. And so they have some reason wanting to pre-program us. And I don't think Carter's with them. I think he figured out, he thought he was just helping. He realizes now he was like programming the subconscious for something. This is very sophisticated. You have your conscious, you have your unconscious, and you have your subconscious. or you have your conscience, and you have your subconscious, and you have the unconscious. And so they're directly trying to talk to the unconscious, and that's thousands of times more powerful, they believe, than the conscious, and hundreds of times more than the unconscious.
Why do you think they let Tucker go? Why do you think specifically on the Fox side?
Well, I actually know why.
Okay.
I mean, I know they were already planning to do it, and then let's just say this: the Vanity Fair article or was it the Hollywood Reporter? I forget which one was the one that Rupert Murdoch was upset by his fiance being Christian.
Well, yeah, I remember reading that where Tucker was talking about God a lot in that speech, and that it pissed him off because Rupert Murdoch is an atheist.
Well, and
he got really pissed off.
Vanity Fair.
Vanity Fair, and so the night they pulled the trigger was when he gave that Heritage Foundation speech. He said, "Look, God's real. You need to pray to God at least 5-10 minutes a day. Evil's real." And you need to get God. You need to get God right now.
Tucker said that
Tucker did that
in a speech.
Yeah.
At the Heritage Foundation.
And then Murdoch called the head of Fox and said, "I want him fired, and I want him fired Monday morning. Don't tell him until we put the press release out simultaneously." So they call him, get him on the phone, say you're fired, and then put the press release out and hang up on him.
Alex, how do you know this?
And then they won't tell him.
How do you know this? Is it because people from?
I can't give sources.
No, I'm not giving names. I'm not giving names. All
I mean,
I'm
my
saying-
sources are so good that I even had Tucker's guys like, "Come on, Alex, don't tell everybody everything." And I didn't even get it from Tucker. I got some of it. The point is, I know everything.
Okay, somebody.
In fact, I got stuff so incredible it'll blow you away, but I can't tell you. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
This is all from my perspective. This is what I hear. What I'm getting is I have a different source. My source is the amount of people that have reached out that want to come join our organization. And we're not even a big media company. We're barely getting started. We're a small little media company here in South Florida. And but the amount of people that are saying, "Hey, are you looking for talent? We heard you're looking for talent. We don't want to be here long term." Some of the stuff that's going on the inside at Fox is not something.
No, Fox is falling apart. I mean, Tucker, obviously his former lead producer that put up the thing that Biden's an aspiring dictator, that was his last hurrah, knowing they'd fire him. They're all going to join Tucker. He's built it. I interrupted. Sorry. Tell me what's going on.
No, that's all I'm saying is we get to call on people. So you're saying Tucker's planning on building a media company?
Or on Twitter.
I think that's obvious.
Okay.
I mean, yes. But here's the thing. I don't want to give anything out of confidence. And so I have Fox sources, I have other sources, I've talked to people, and I mean, that's obvious that's what he's going to do. I mean, in his first new show that got like 100 and whatever million views, he said, "I plan to do monologues and then more things after that." So yes, what you saw with his Fox Nation thing, but done right, is what he's planning. It's all, the thing is, people say things are classified or they're secret. Real intelligence is what's right in front of you. So Tucker has said he's going to do all this. And so then I do know some of the things he's planning, but I'm not going to repeat that. I can just tell you what I can, with human intelligence, see is going on. But yes, Fox has actually lost 50+% of its main viewers. It's like 65% of their key demo. Basically, they committed suicide, again, just like all these other leftist companies, because they're planning something big, and I don't think they care. And the central banks with the ESGs can give them unlimited money to prop them up later. That's why these companies fall over themselves to lose $24 billion at Target or $15 billion at Anheuser-Busch. Fall over themselves to do this is because they're planning something so big, and things are going to be shook up so bad that none of this is going to be here anymore. And then that leads us to the Russia situation.
Who are some of the guys you're seeing right now that are either in the process of being the next Tuckers or are in the camp of Tucker, that they're pushing the envelope, they're challenging the establishment? Who else would you put? Obviously not at Tucker's level. Tucker's a guy that's the MJ, the industry today. Who else you see is coming up? Whatever different places they are there any other names that you're seeing that's going under the direction that Tucker's going? Like, for example, when we used to watch Tucker back in the days with Crossfire, and he's doing what he's doing with Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart's trying to punk him, and you see how Tucker stood up to him, and challenged him, and then look, he went from being who he was back then and the bow tie to not being the Tucker of nobody's getting the kind of eyeballs he's getting. So who won at the end of the day? Tucker won from going, John.
Well, that's the thing. Tucker is a genuinely nice guy, but he's also a big guy and really smart, and he has a temper. So the point is that them messing with him and stuff made him go from being a Mr. Nice Guy to no more Mr. Nice Guy. And now he's really no more Mr. Nice Guy. Yeah, I don't think anybody's in his class for being able to do interviews or think on his feet or do a great monologue, because he writes all that himself. He's a great writer, great researcher. And then I think Joe Rogan, just because of his curiosity and because of his being skeptical, obviously is just going to continue to get bigger. I mean, I think, people like yourself. I mean, I've seen your show exponentially grow. It's always been popular, but I see it everywhere now. It's just obviously exploding.
What do you think about? I guess the question I was more asking is guys from mainstream media, not the podcast guys. Like, who at Fox do you see? Do you like what Brett does? Do you like what some of the guys at Megyn Kelly's doing? Obviously, Megyn Kelly's at a different place. Who are some of the names that you're saying? And Megan's already, she's one of the best. I'm talking about some of the people at Fox that you're saying that guy maybe won't be at Fox too long himself. Is there anyone at Fox that you're thinking?
Oh, I get your question. No, I don't think anybody's in Tucker's league. I don't think any of those people all just have producers. They try to break stories. They try to chase stories. And Fox is basically a sinking ship. And so I do think a lot of them are going to leave and be successful in whatever type of programs they do. But at the same time, look, everything is going to be either you're a populist, anti-New World Order, or you're a globalist suck-up. And so that's it. Everything's going to go towards, are you going to sit there and buy the BS of Neil deGrasse Tyson when he just tells you stuff that's completely untrue? And he just says science, 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 science. You're like, well, show me science. And so he's like, I have a pink Lamborghini outside. Well, show me. No science. You don't question that. I say it's going to be 400 degrees outside tomorrow. Well, show me the facts. No science. Well, it was all tested. These drugs were all approved. No, they weren't. They were brought on market and then approved. An emergency deal. That's totally separate. Never before done. He's just, no, it was all approved. Massive testing. We've never done more studying in our entire universe as we've done on these shots. These are safe, effective, pure, clean, wonderful. And not one word of that's true. I mean, remember the first year it was an open piece of paper when you opened up the vaccine ampule by law. It has to be in there. And it just said the name of the company. Not one thing that was in it because none of it was approved. Emergency authorization. And then they did, quote, studies and suppress those studies. And that's all a fact. And they don't want you to even be able to say that. Anybody can look at what I just said. So it's going to be, are you going to sit there and take the establishment's money and tell people that there's that there's ice water in hell, or are you going to try to figure out what's going on? So everything is to be the quest for legitimacy, the quest for curiosity, and the quest of skepticism. And if you're not skeptical in this environment, you're an idiot. We have gotten in this situation because we've not been skeptical. And if you go to places like Russia or the Middle East or places that have had turmoil more recently, people are skeptical or they're dead. And so you either get skeptical and get your head in the game and learn how stuff works, or you're dead. We've had it so good in this country. We're the best house in a bad neighborhood. We've had it so good in this country for at least 150 years, okay? And this place has been a wonderland compared to most other countries. And so people now have grown up off our grandparents and off their grandparents, the average American, and have no idea how good we've had it. And the fact that God is lowering the defense shield now because we have stopped being good moral people, and now tyranny's flooding in, and we better find God and find skepticism and find rugged individualism and find the will to stand up and have courage, or we'll lose everything. People always say, oh, you've got courage to fight them. I'm trying to get out of walls closing in on my family and my country and the world. It's not courage to be trying to get out of this thing. I mean, you take the cheesy Star Wars analogy where they're in the trash compactor, it's going to kill them. Do they have courage trying to get out of there? No, they're fighting for their lives. If somebody tied bowling balls to my legs and threw me in the deep end and I'm fighting, trying to claw my way up out of there, it's not courage. It's the opposite. It's self-preservation. So people better understand it's not courage, okay? It's the courage to save yourself, which isn't courage at all, in my view.
So, Alex, it's obviously a pattern when it comes to people that are exposing the truth, the elites and everything. You, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Andrew Tate, RFK. People, even me personally, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Is there a chance for us to win, or are we fighting a losing battle? Because, Alex, they have set up the pieces to this game that we're playing in. Is there a light, with people like this, that you have this passion? The truth is coming out, but is it all for nothing?
There is a light at the end of the tunnel. They've gone and dug up those temples of Ramses II 3,000 plus years ago. More than that with Moses. So what you see in the Ten Commandments, that was real people, real stuff went on. People can question the biblical story if they want, but Moses existed, Ramses II existed, all that went on. You're saying, what's that to do with what I asked? The Israelites had to just stop doing what they were told. Everybody's seen that meme that shows 5 burn matches and then one match,
Yep.
And it says non-compliance or non-conformity, and then all the other matches aren't burned. You can stop the chain reaction. And so finally, after decades or whatever it was of the Jews saying we're done being your slaves, they said, okay, pack your stuff up and go. Okay, and the desert was rough and it was tough and they went through a lot of hell, then they built their own thing. And so look how you built your own thing. The establishment became corrupt, the mainstream media lied to us, it committed seppuku, it committed suicide. Now we're building a new system. The Amish 400 years ago were Protestants. They were being persecuted in Switzerland and Germany, so they packed up, sold everything, and moved here. And still today, they don't have autism, they don't have any of this stuff, they don't have suicide rates. They're living the dream because they don't hang out with Big Pharma. And so we don't have to do what the Amish have done, but we have to be in the world but not of the world, to use the Christian allegory.
Got it.
And we have to build our own systems, build our own companies. Instead of a boycott, which is great against Anheuser-Busch or Target, we need a boycott. And when we start, and that's what ESGs are, is they've analyzed all this. They know the boycott by populists, by Christians, by conservatives, by people that just want to be capitalist and live normal and be able to defend ourselves and create wealth. We can do anything we want. Humans are incredible. Instead of being ruled by these globalists that want us poor so they can dictate the terms of our surrender, we have to build the new Renaissance. We have to build the Great Awakening. And it has to be a spiritual awakening in God, in Christ. And we have to call on God because they've got their God. Notice Target literally put out shirts with an artist that says
Atheists and believing in the devil. Yeah.
we are Satanists and we are going to recruit your kids and an adult
Shirt with that?
A shirt. The designer,
Pull up
it was
the-
all devil, worship Satan. Satan loves trans.
LGBT.
Satan loves trans.
S for Satan.
Now they threw an S in there.
Look, Pat,
They
see that
threw
one,
an S?
Rob, where it says Target right there? Go right there. Top left, Target. And that was the pin that they were selling. Target respects, Satan respects pronouns. They were selling
There's no
that.
way they were selling that.
I
Yes, they were.
100% they were selling.
We sent crew in and got video of it.
Pat, they were selling
They were
it.
selling this in Austin.
Target ignites firestorm with launch of new clothing line designed by Satanists.
100%.
Target just missed a bullseye by a mile, and then some. Can you zoom in a little bit? The retail giant has been selected by a few brands in the United Kingdom that promote Satan. You read it right. Target's partner is Ab Pralin. It has produced a prayer collection for Target's celebration of LGBT Pride Month and promotes satanic images, themes.
This is as outrageous.
Listen.
as
Target,
it
Pat.
gets.
Listen. Go to Twitter and the woman has an account. These are shirts, not just art.
Trans witches for what they are. They also offer clothing and accessories that includes catchphrases like trans witches for abortion. Okay, click on that and let's try to buy it. Go to trans witches for
Well,
abortion.
here's the good news. They pulled it after a week.
Okay.
Yeah, but they got.
And then they got all these bomb threats from the LGBT pieces.
Yeah, leave it in there. The
Rainbow Mafia is real.
The Rainbow Mafia was like, yo, we're going to bomb Target if you try to mess with it.
Go on that Etsy page. Yeah, that one right there.
Because that guy's name, Ab Bralin, whatever his name is.
Trans witches for abortion.
Listen, they actually sold the shirts that had a guillotine and said we're going to kill homophobes.
Yeah.
And then it shows an adult skeleton giving a baby skeleton the trans fire, and it says we will recruit your children. They will be trans.
What was the
so-
thing that we're preaching the other day?
Oh, yeah,
we're here,
so I don't
we're
know-
queer,
I don't know
we're
if
coming
you-
for your
I don't know if
children.
you- so,
Share the story and what happened there.
So-
if you want to pull up the story.
So, and Alex, I'll give a couple examples before we
Talk
get
about
to that.
Boston.
I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and Alex, we've talked about this yesterday. So when people like you, when people like me talk about this attack on children, this satanic going after children and the trans movement, just a couple of quick stories that happened this week. In Boston, 4 kids were found in a drag party with one dead trans guy on the floor, and the kids were in the back. There were sex toys scattered throughout the house and a hoarder home. Doesn't make headline news, but the
firefighters said they were hiding the kids in the back bedroom.
they were hiding.
The Daily Mail right here put it out there.
Yeah,
so
and-
this
okay.
is not this is not a right wing source.
Yeah.
Daily Mail.
Listen, keep the stories going. The first trans state representative, Stacey Lawton, aka Barry Lawton, from New Hampshire, was just arrested for distributing child porn. Okay, it just happened. And mind you, they couldn't find him because he transitioned and changed his name. How about this
And
one?
by the way, they're trying to pass laws in California and other states where once you change your name, if you're trans, it expunges your criminal record.
Police
Oh,
record.
really?
Oh yeah. So yeah,
Just change your name, Alex.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Now you're Alexandra Jones, exonerated.
Yeah,
You're
there
good.
goes
You
the
know,
money.
you owe no money.
And one more. So 3 days ago, the ex-CNN producer John Griffin was sentenced 19 years for sexually assaulting a 9-year-old. Okay. And then this was the other day. This is in New York City, a drag march where the marchers are chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're here for your children." Tell me this isn't disgusting. Listen. Like they're not here. Now listen, this is out. We're here.
How do you want to bet those are public school teachers?
100%. Yeah, and here's
coming for your
That's worse. Did you
children.
see the San Francisco city-funded gay choir where they go, "We're coming for your children. We'll take them. You'll love it, and then we'll get you too. We're gonna get your children." And then they go to the city councils all over, even in conservative areas, and go, "We are gonna recruit your children and have sex with them."
Oh
This
my
is
God.
Rob, can you pull that up?
And Alex, how is that not the headline story? But the Titanic sinking ship with 5 people is the #1 story.
Oh yeah, and Blue's Clues now on
Does it say right here?
on mainstream TV has Baphomet and Moloch and the kids being sacrificed.
Oh God.
Yeah, so this is exactly what. But here's what's happening. Let me tell you what I think is happening, and I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think common sense will prevail, and a lot of people are sitting there saying this just doesn't make any sense. You saw the Gallup poll that came back where America is right now with the LGBTQ and where they're standing. How the biggest plus minus was the fact that the American people are no longer as comfortable as they were. It dropped by 7% year over year where we're at. And even the Glendale stuff that's going on with the kids, the parents coming out saying this is too much, you're crossing the line. More and more people are being united on ESG's bad idea. More and more people are being united with you can't be grooming our kids. More and more people are starting to realize this is not just what we're all about. And it's not just the people from the right. It's people from who have historically voted Democrat that are saying, look, man, I don't know what the hell is going on. This isn't what I supported.
It's a lunatic asylum.
Yeah, you're seeing it's going from Democrat versus Republican, where it's going from establishment against anti-establishment. That's the two political parties. We're gradually going away from the Republican and the Democratic Party. We're going to the anti-establishment and the establishment party. Maybe you were saying, yeah, you know what? I don't trust the establishment anymore like I used to. I just don't.
It also goes to ridiculous versus just common sense. Stuff like this.
We're here, we're queer.
We're coming for your
Yeah.
children. And how, Patrick, that is, listen to me, that's the devil out in the open. They're not even hiding anymore.
And they say in this, towards the end, they say, we're going to get them, we're going to groom them, they're ours, they're going to love it, and so will you.
This transcends party lines. This is
Oh, and it
just-
turned
this-
out a
beyond
bunch
that.
of them were registered sex offenders, the children.
These guys.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
The majority, look
Wait,
at their faces.
what did they say in this video? What did they say in this video?
I don't know which one.
This is the city-sponsored choir. I mean, it's nauseating. But just
Click on it.
And just so you know, for
go to the
reference,
last third. Go to
this
the last
is
third.
from 2021.
Okay.
We're coming for your children.
Jesus.
We're coming for your children. We're coming for
Is this a real video or is this
No, this
like
is
a
their
deep
religion.
fake?
This is not a joke.
That
No, they arrested
San
some of the...
Francisco Gay Men's Chorus sang a song about coming for your children. It was like they spelled the plan out in plain
Right.
sight.
Sometimes, like Alex said, sometimes just look right in front of
Right
your
in
face.
front of your
what they're
face.
saying, it doesn't need to be conspiratorial.
Yeah.
They're fucking saying it.
Yeah, there's no hiding.